Disingenuous banana. Oh, I touched my face. Shame on me. Disingenuous bananas. So, if you see a presenter speaking to bananas, no matter what type of bananas they are, and the radiation inside of bananas, and then using that to extrapolate some greater good for bananas and radiation, is really fucking shallow. Almost makes you wonder why they're talking to something they technically know very little about. I spent 4 or 5 videos back there just discussing detector physics for a high energy particle detector. This is not a voltmeter, it's not an amp meter, it is not a watt meter or any normal tools folks come near. It is a Geiger counter. And the one I reference is a very simple Geiger counter. It only measures in counts per minute. A much more effective Geiger counter would measure in counts per second. And it's a more expensive Geiger counter. And then the next thing after that is a spectrometer, so you can identify isotopes much easier than you can with a Geiger counter. We can go through some methodology with a Geiger counter to try and determine what isotopes might be there, and using some ratio analysis further derive or refine that estimate of what's out there in the real world. So people are going around and measuring dangerous levels of radioactivity in areas of Japan. They are measuring dangerous levels of radioactivity being downwind from a Department of Defense plant that doesn't have to follow all the environmental rules, called Paducah, to clean up contractors that cut corners and save money to make profits off of the bid instead of doing things right. This is limited liability corporations. This is stupid banana talk. So inside that, not worrying about bananas, and you shouldn't worry about bananas unless you know of a good reason to worry about bananas. But strontium-90 is an artifact of the tobacco plant's uptake. It likes strontium-90. It accumulates strontium-90. Where it gets it from is a damn good question. But tobacco, still and to this day, is monitored for strontium-90. The last article, the last reference I saw was tobacco in Russia, I believe, or one of the former Soviet states, that was found to have high levels of strontium-90 and was taken off the market in Russia. But the tobacco was from Vietnam. Where in Vietnam is processing and releasing strontium-90 in enough levels to contaminate tobacco crops? This is a question you could ask if you gave a damn, if you understood how insidious these nuclear plants and these nuclear conversations are. I see in these conversations an electron confused with a photon, different discrete particles with different characteristics and properties. I see a beta particle being called an electron when its physical properties are not that of an electron. It does not behave like an electron. This smearing of the sciences is intentional, seemingly intentional. It is so complicated that to present it well definitely isn't on me. We learned about these artifacts in the 1800s and the 1900s. The sciences used and hidden and talked around inside the Manhattan Project decades before most of you viewers were born were some of the final proofs of the age of this planet itself. the construction of this planet itself, how the planet came into being some billions of years ago. This is the depth of understanding that we gained back in the 1950s and 1960s. In all that, there was no supernatural found. There were more questions found. That's our science, our collective intelligence on this planet. Are you tired of being played yet?